two guys, Jim Lohr and Tony Schwartz. In 2001, they published an article called The Making of the Corporate Athlete. They took all this experience that they had in sport, and they said, well, we've worked with some tennis players. Tennis players, they do some work on the court, and then they rest. They do some work on the court, and then they rest. They only spend about 35% of their time on the court playing, actively engaged in work. Now, I would argue, in Sodexo, we talked about the challenge of time, that you spend about 99.9% of your time working, and that 0.1% doing something else, recovering maybe, or being busy in other ways. So they said we have 4 capacities. You have your physical capacity, your body. You have your emotional capacity, which creates this climate for high performance. Your mental capacity, which is the skill set, and then your spiritual capacity, which talks about your values, your motivations, and what gets you out of bed in the morning, whether it's your phone or just why would you do anything else? Of course I'm going to get out of bed in the morning. So they said that we have rituals that enhance all of these capacities. They make it so that we're capable to perform at our best all of the time, which I think is fantastic. I don't. If somebody said, hey, here's a pill, this is going to make you be your best all the time, I'd be like, yeah, sign me up. Happy to do that. I think we would do the same with time. Here's more time. Thank you. Love this. So capacity, rituals that support them, and then we get into this idea of oscillation. This idea of oscillation is based on periodization. It came up in Olympic training in Russia many, many years ago. They said, oh, well, we actually only need to peak at certain times. So if it's the Olympics, we need to peak at the Olympics, obviously, and at the events leading up that make it possible for our athletes to go. So what are these events in Sodexo that you have to peak for? Something like today, you can actually probably be unplugged. You can be a little bit less on, because you just get to show up and you just get to listen, or not, and sit with your arms crossed. Do that daydreaming thing we love to do. Remember lunch? Oh, that was great, right? So the idea is find a time and find a way to peak at the right times and train and rest that way. So if yesterday you said, well, I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to get here, and you tried to go to bed at 7, you're like, oh, that's not going to work. And then you went to bed at 10, but that really turned into midnight. And then you ended up with 5 hours of sleep. Oh, wow. How can we plan to peak at the right times? So big contracts, if you're negotiating a big contract, how can you plan to peak during that time? How can you make it so when you show up and you have to interact with that client and treat them the way you're treating yourself if you're doing it well, how are you going to make that the best interaction? How are you going to peak at that time? And then, how are you going to lower that intensity to function at a calm level and recover in between? So we have capacity, makes it so we can do work. We have rituals supporting these capacities. And we have oscillation, which says, hey, work, rest.